Big weekend, Manchester Derby, Conte, Wilson, West Ham. The Manchester Derby. The Milan Derby. The Holloway Derby. Chuck and Antonio Conte and West Ham, and this weekend should be something special. Game to watch, Manchester United v Manchester City, a Manchester Derby that only an absolute fool would attempt to predict. With Harry Maguire clearly short of fitness and Raphael Varane ruled out for sure, this looks ripe for another Old Trafford humbling on one of those days when Manchester City's lack of a proper striker is neither here nor there. But then we're also talking about Manchester United, a club now powered entirely by vibes. They dismantled Spurs last week in a reminder that they do have some really very good players, while Cristiano Ronaldo is currently doing a nonsense on at the very least a weekly basis. Yet the victory at Spurs strengthened Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's position significantly, while potentially applying a double whammy weakening of United's, and he no longer needs to urgently pull a result from his arse. Solskjaer is at his very best when all hope is apparently lost, so City might benefit from hitting the endlessly repetitive Solskjaer United loop at a beneficial time. Or they might not. I don't know. Last season this fixture produced a truly desperate, joyless goalless draw. It might be another one of those despite United not having a defense to speak of. Can't rule it out, which means I can't even with full confidence recommend actually watching the game. When City don't click, their lack of a plan B can make them a bit meh. With all due respect, some pretty average teams have managed to shut them out this season. Spurs, Southampton, Palace, second-string United could easily do so. I've managed to make myself less excited about this game as I've gone on there. No, come on, it'll be a belter. Definitely. Manager to watch, Antonio Conte, that was almost too Spurs, in a way. But after the sort of game that shows once again why the Europa Conference League is everyone's favorite tournament, Antonio Conte can't say he didn't get the full Spurs experience as his new team roared into a 3-0 lead, gifted their game, but limited opponents 2 goals back, went down to 10 men, hung on grimly for 20 minutes before Vitesse went down to 9 men, and everything was fine. During that 20-minute spell in the first half when Spurs' front three shimmered and shined and the wing-backs wreaked havoc, it was all giddily exciting. But this is Spurs, and the evening soon veered alarmingly from sterner tests await but to scale of the task ahead of him. But for all the conference silliness of it, there were still some sensible things to note. Conte has gone straight for his tried and trusted back three, and there are plenty of reasons to think it can work with this squad. It's also going to take a lot of time to bed in, and simply moving from 2 unreliable centre-backs to 3 isn't going to solve anything in and of itself. Conte stressed the time factor after the game, and even before Thursday, nobody would have doubted the wisdom or veracity of that claim. Yet there are also plenty of reasons to expect an instant uplift. Harry Kane immediately looks more arsed, having once again found himself working for an elite manager, more in keeping with his own self-image than a fella binned by Wolves. Kane starting to look anything like his old self is huge in and of itself, but it has a multiplying effect on a squad already lifted by the frankly absurd sight of an elite manager at their peak rocking up at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. There is magic in that Spurs front three. If Conte can inspire them while drilling any sort of cohesion and reliability into what happens behind them, then this could be quite good quite quickly. Out of form Everton isn't a bad start for the first Premier League outing either. If we're really lucky, it might even be as mad as Thursday night. Player to watch Callum Wilson firstly, and most obviously because Newcastle really need to start winning soon to reduce the growing potential for this to become the most embarrassing season anyone with their vast newfound wealth has ever endured, and until January at least Wilson is by far the likeliest source of the requisite goals. But now intriguingly because it looks certain Wilson's old Bournemouth boss Eddie Howe is going to be the man charged with first steering Newcastle away from immediate trouble and then beginning a process that ends with league titles and shiny trophies and glory. Howe's arrival is, one assumes, good news for Wilson's prospects of being part of Newcastle's brave new dawn for longer than merely playing a key role in Stage 1 avoiding relegation. Team to watch West Ham. The Hammers are in wonderful form at the moment, and this weekend gives them a chance to pit their skills against one of arguably only 2 sides playing even better at the moment. While the Manchester Derby brings the prospect of either chaos or boredom, and Conte's arrival at Spurs inevitably piques everyone's interest, the actual standout match this weekend may well come at the London Stadium, where David Moyes' drilled and dynamic Hammers take on Jurgen Klopp's uber-talented Liverpool side. On a mundane, dreary level obsessed with points and results and things that matter, this is a game that should tell us a bit about Liverpool's title credentials and/or West Ham's hopes of once again finishing in the European places or maybe even higher. But mainly this should just be a really good game of football, and isn't that enough at the end of the day? Football League game to watch: Blackpool v QPR, a first staging of the Ian Holloway Derby since September 2018, and first in the league since 2013-14. Truly, a blessed weekend of football is upon us. European game to watch: AC Milan v Inter Milan, the first Milan derby of the Serie A season, pit second against third, but that tells only part of the story. There are already 7 points between the teams, with Milan, like Napoli, having dropped only 2 points in the first 11 games of the season. Inter have lost only once, yet already this feels like a game that at the very least they cannot afford to lose if they are to have any chance of defending the title won under Conte last season.